I read it as Venus Girls, like Grrrls, like, but I felt like I sounded like Grrrls, so I knew that wasn't right. So I just want to double check.
Venus Girls. I was like,
you could always like try and roll your tongue and do like the good. Oh wait, I don't know what I
do like what?
Right then, team. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Scratch Record Podcast. We're joined today by a band that I'm a huge fan of, and I'm so glad that we got them on the podcast. We have playing them consistently on our Indie Rocks radio show. If you don't listen to that, you probably should. They've been our previous track of the week with their newest single, Goth Girl. We are joined by the band today, Venus Girls. How are we?
Hello.
That was like completely in sync. That was incredible.
Great
it was just dead hello. Good intro, Al. That was an impressive intro. You did that one well.
Thank you. I try.
Basically. Oh,
hang on. No, I want to ask one thing. It is Venus Girls, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the first time that I read it. I read it as Venus Girls, like Grrrls, like, but I felt like I sounded like Grrrls, so I knew that wasn't right. So I just want to double check.
Venus Girls. I was like,
you could always like try and roll your tongue and do like the good. Oh wait, I don't know what I
do like what?
I try to roll my tongue, but it failed. Oh dear.
Oh no.
I really want to try and do it now, but I can't.
I was going to do it, but I don't want that to happen. So.
Yeah.
I don't even think I'm going to need to put a clip in the front there. I think that is just what I'm going to use to introduce the podcast. 100%.
Oh dear.
Oh, that made me cry a bit.
Oh dear. Okay, well, to start with, we try and ask the more sensible questions before we do inevitably end up just talking about rubbish for most of it. So for anyone who hasn't heard of Venus Girls, give us a little bit of background, like what type of music is it, how long have you been going, all that sort of stuff.
So we formed the back end of 2018. 2018?
17.
Whoa.
17.
Whoa, dude.
Started gigging at the start of 18, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we had our first gig in February that year. We met at Leeds College of Music. We were all studying there, different courses. Grace had put like an open call out at the time. So we were really heavily inspired by Riot Girl originally. We covered Bikini Kill, Rebel Girl. But as it's kind of gone on, because we were all from very different backgrounds, it's kind of turned to like alternative rock. I guess there's probably some other sort of subgenre as well that other people call us. Like some people have been calling goth girl like goth rock. Kind of like we even got compared to the Cure, like the sounds of the Cure, which I was quite surprised by, but we'll take that. But yeah, has that answered? Was that your question? How we formed?
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. I sometimes like end up going on a bit of a tangent where it's like, no, keep to the point, don't go on.
No, that is perfect for an hour-long podcast. We have the time. You can talk about what you want.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's good. I think we normally like to dive into like what the early days were like, because we find that really interesting with a lot of bands. Yeah. So if you all met at uni, and then was it a case of like you all just played stuff separately and then you were just like, fuck it, let's just start a band?
Well,
not really, actually.
Yeah,
I think
Grace
that's
Grace
like
did the post,
story,
and then
isn't it? But
yeah,
sorry, Gabby.
None of us really knew each other. I think Grace and Grace knew each other because they lived together. Jess and Grace
knew of each other. Yeah, we went to college together in Watford. She was the year below me. Okay. And I knew of her, but we like weren't friends at all.
I kind of knew,
not because I didn't like her.
Hated her.
We just didn't happen to be friends. Yeah.
But yeah, Grace did an open call on I think it was it the uni's Facebook page at the time. With me and her though, it was just spoke. We lived together, and she was like, "Oh, I really want to make a band," and I was like, "Oh well, I'll be in it," because I used to be in an all-girl rock band in Hartlepool before uni called Armpit and the Glitter Babies, and before like I even knew Grace, I think we added each other on Facebook because when you're moving into halls and things.
Yeah.
And I remember I commenting like, oh, I want to be in a cool band like this. So like, I think I was just like, well, I'll be in your like new band, because when we all went to uni, it kind of, we weren't playing together anymore. But yeah, then some of people, did you reply to the post, Gabby? And then Jess through a friend?
I think I might have seen it on Instagram. I've got a feeling I can't, because she put it on Instagram as well, I'm sure. And then I sent her a message. And then, yeah.
She thought you were a singer originally, didn't she?
Yeah.
And you were like, nah, drums. And then Hannah, actually, we saw Hannah play in, she used to be in another band, and we saw her perform, especially, I think GK did, and she actually went up to Hannah and was like, I want you to be in the band. And Hannah turned it down originally. She's like, no, like, I'm too busy with like my band, I don't think I can. But I think like Grace just kept nagging her until she said like, yeah, I'll come. And then she hasn't, turned back since. I think
I haven't let her leave.
No, yeah, we haven't. I think, she's talked about that, I think, as in like, I can't like imagine if I hadn't said yes, like, and just, but I think that's kind of how everyone came together.
Nice.
That's cool. And then you started then practicing, rehearsing and stuff. And then what was the first gig like when you all played together? What was it, almost like a breath of release? Because like you were able to just kind of get out there what you were performing.
It was for me.
It was really good, actually. Like, it came about so quickly. Like we'd barely been rehearsing, and we got some like photos taken, and just kind of, did that thing at the beginning where you make a social media account and like you're just like, friends like my new band and all of that. And then all of a sudden someone was like, can you play this gig? And we were like, oh my God, we only know how to play one song. And it was a cover. Like, we hadn't really written much at that point, so we had to like really quickly get together some original material like very fast. And I think just the whole nature of it, the fact that it was like really quick, and we just got on stage and played it, and it was just so much fun, and the audience really liked it. Although looking back on that video now, I'm just like, why did you like it? Like, we like, you can just tell we're such a new band, like we don't look as comfortable on stage as we do now and stuff like that, but at the time, like it just felt really good. I was like, I remember I was thinking, like, this could be like,
we're the shit.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, even you can, like, even afterwards, like online and things, like the response that our performance got, it was really positive. So I think that kind of solidified it to us. I don't know if that's the right word, but like, I think we were all like, not sure if this is going to work, because especially the first rehearsal was very awkward, because we kind of jumped into trying to write an original, whereas because we were all working in different genres and like hadn't even played together before, we didn't know how each other played or wrote. It was very awkward. And then I think it was Grace was like, oh, we should try a cover in the next rehearsal, and maybe that'll be a bit more comfortable. So I think after that initial gig, and like seeing what people thought and just like how we felt on stage, we were like, oh yeah, like we want to keep doing this. Might as well.
Definitely.
Where was the first gig that you played then? Was that in Leeds? Yeah.
It was Lending Room.
The what, Lending Room? Oh, sick. Yeah, I like Lending Room. We played there a lot. Yeah, big fan of Lending.
Did you go to uni in Leeds up?
What?
Man.
What?
That is official. On. What's that? 40-something episodes in a row.
Oh, piss off, Joe.
It's not even that many times. No, I like that though. So then that early, like, when did you start getting those original songs down and get like Deranged down and those early ones? Did you write a lot and throw a lot away until you got to that point, or were those early songs like, did they just come out straight away?
Deranged wasn't necessarily one of the first ones, actually.
Yeah, Deranged was a lot later, because that came out in 2019.
Yeah, well, it was released in 2019 because we'd been like writing and performing for about a year before we released anything, because we kind of wanted to do that approach of building a fan base through live gigging first, do that sort of approach rather than putting loads of content online and hoping people will see it. But Deranged was quite a few songs in. We'd messed about recording some of our older songs. Like Sour was one of the first ones, and obviously that was released after Deranged. There was one called White Lies that was probably one of the first ones too, and we've hummed and hard.
You better say it now and everything.
Hummed and hard.
Hummed and hard.
I'm gonna use that.
I keep you can tell I'm like communicating talking to people. It's so long, I just keep coming out with right. Anyway. Yeah, we don't know whether we will ever release White Lies, like maybe as a B-side, maybe, but that's like probably our first ever one that we wrote together.
Wasn't the first one Sour, and then White Lies was like after that?
Yeah, it's between them two, isn't it?
They were Deranged, wasn't, and like we'd written loads of other stuff before Deranged. Like, wasn't Venus? We had a song called Venus.
And we didn't know what else to call it.
Yeah, and we've long since ditched it. Like, we haven't played that live for ages, but even that was before Deranged.
It's because it was on the arpeggiator. Like, I'm like leading the song, but live,
what a nightmare that song was.
me and you haven't. And we don't have in-ears.
Yeah, we needed like in-ear monitors in order to play it because it was like took
following.
Otherwise, I couldn't hear it.
And as well, like
ditched it.
some of the venues we play as well, because a lot of them like DIY and small. Like the sound isn't like the greatest, especially in the monitors for us. And the synth is always like at the bottom, so trying to follow a synth like as a metronome.
Or even
like,
if I don't even have a monitor.
Yeah.
I've not even had one, so I've not been able to hear anything.
So yeah, we maybe we'll come back to that maybe
at some point.
Maybe.
But yeah, so Deranged was like, we fully went on a tangent there. That was me. That was totally maybe like the 6th or 7th track.
Okay, so is it? But it was the first one you released on Spotify, or have I?
Yeah, it is the first one. Yeah.
Right. So is that the first one that you hit, and you were like, was it a conscious point when you got to that point? You were like, right now we're ready to release it on like platforms.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think we wrote it around the time that we were sort of anticipating getting some recorded stuff out there, and yeah, I guess everyone was just like, yeah, Deranged is the one that we'll put out first. And it seems to have gone down quite well. So
really well. It's a very good song. I think that's what to be fair.
That one will always have like a place in our hearts.
Yeah, definitely. So then where did it go from there? Like, did you start playing some like bigger and bigger gigs in Leeds, or like what was sort of the plan from there?
So from Deranged, yeah. So we did our first ever headline show in Leeds for that release, and it was a Hyde Park Book Club, and that was sold out. So that's like 150 capacity.
Wow!
So that was like big for us. I think we were like very overwhelmed by that show. It was like a really good show because we'd put it on ourselves as well. It was all very like DIY, and as well, I guess that probably would have helped our presence online. Other promoters finding us. So when it came to booking tours and things, it was actually mainly me and GK doing it all ourselves, like reaching out to promoters. It kind of helped that we were all from different places, because I'd worked with promoters in the Northeast who then heard of us and wanted to work with us, etc. And like down south as well with Jess and GK. And as well, we signed to Monomyth Records at that time, and they have a really good connection with Future Sound. So they're a really good, like quite big promotion company in Leeds. So then we started collaborating with them going forward. So yeah, like definitely over time, like we started getting on better support slots and things like that. We've worked with the Kids of Solid Gold, which are Teesside based, and they've helped us out get on some good support slots as well. So yeah, just a variety of like the label sort of progressing as well. And then recently as well, we've just started working with a booking agent. So hopefully as well, that'll become a lot more easier for us when it comes to shows and tour arrangement, because trying to organise it when you like have no experience in it can be difficult. So that'll be very handy.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it sounds like you've got a lot of miles under your belt. You've played loads of gigs. Have you got one that sticks out as like one of your favourites?
For me, it's probably in my hometown. We've played the studio a couple of times. And in literally right before the pandemic. It was like one of our last shows, and we just put our own show on there, and that was probably my favorite. It's all like a charity run venue, and just the support that I got like from my hometown was amazing. But I imagine you probably have different ones, so
I think that's definitely up there for me as well, for sure.
Every time like we've been asked this question, Glasgow always comes into my head, because I think it's because it had for so far away, it had a good turnout, and I think like the way we played, like the energy that was in the room as well, that always helps. And I just think it was overall like really, that was a fun gig. That one always comes to my head when this question's asked.
Yeah, even though it was
I really like that one.
Probably one of our smaller ones on like in the like smallest. Yeah, I remember that one being fun as well. I remember coming off stage and just being like
feeling really good.
I remember being sick before that show. Like when we went to the service station, it was like rock and roll. I wasn't alone.
Oh my god!
I forgot about that.
So I was in the front seat finally because GKR was back seat the front seat.
Oh my god! I forgot.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was definitely like stressed you were going to throw up in my car.
Scotland's always like a really good place to play and also just go to. I love Scotland. Like I just want to live in the Highlands, like in a hut somewhere. But yeah,
that's the goal, isn't it? Earn enough to be able to just buy a house in a random field and just not speak to anyone. It'd be great.
I think I would need a community. I think I'm probably more sociable than I think. But yeah, that sort of vibe. Like have like sustainable little like hut somewhere. Anywhere.
For sure. So you mentioned support gigs there. I've got this right that you supported All Time Low.
Yeah.
So I bet you've been asked about it a lot, but I think we were pretty blown away by that. Like, what was that like? That sounds incredible.
You'd be surprised at how little we've been asked about it, actually, because that was one of the last ones as well before everything went.
Okay.
That was our last gig, wasn't it? A year ago, just over a year ago.
Yeah. So, you know, we did that, and then so much was supposed to like come off the back of it, and then like the world ended, so it just kind of like fizzled out, to be honest. But I don't remember what your question was. I just
well, just what was it like? Like, how did it come about, and like just all that sort of stuff?
So it came about because I mentioned Future Sound earlier. So they work with us in Leeds. I think they had put us forward with a couple other bands in Leeds, because All Time Low were wanting like a local band to support them. Anyway, they put them forward to All Time Low, and they were like, yeah, man, like we'll have them. And that was very awkward because like in between, like when we have to like send it to them first to see if they want like you to support them. So obviously we confirmed it, and then we were just waiting like, do they like us? Do they want us? And then when it came back, we were like, phew, like we can confirm it. In the actual show itself, it was very overwhelming because I used to be really into pop punk when I was a teenager. So was Hannah. She used to really like All Time Low, our bassist. So like it was just weird, like from going like watching MTV Rocks every Saturday with my mates to then like meet them and play alongside them was very surreal. And like they were really nice. We met them at the end, Alex, the lead singer, and stuff. But yeah, it was actually quite stressful in a way prior because it was at Brunel Social Club, and I don't think they were ready for the fangirls that come with All Time Low. So I remember like the venue just like stressing out because it was like low capacity. Well, it was like for them, it was a low capacity venue. I think it's Brunel like 400, 500 capacity, and usually All Time Low.
Only 400. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas All Time Low usually play, I want to say arenas or O2s, maybe arenas.
I thought they'd be playing arenas.
Yeah, so it was like an intimate warm-up show, wasn't it? They did one in London, and then they came up and did one in Leeds. So it was like, and it only got announced like the week before. And like I remember we arrived at Brunel, and there were like people like with duvets and pillows like sleeping outside Brunel, like waiting to get in. And the venue just were not prepared for that. They just didn't. I don't think they expected it, and so security was like super tight, and I don't think they really like unfortunately knew about us and who we were.
Yeah, I think they thought we were groupies or something.
Yeah. And they thought that we were trying to like get people in, like fans and stuff. Like we had our partners with us and like they all had to leave. It was so sad. So it was a bit of a stress on that front, but like it wasn't like bad or anything. We just hung out and got to play before All Time Low, which was super cool.
Yeah, it was definitely a new experience. Like I think it's prepared us for shows like that. If more like that happened for us in the future, we kind of know a bit more what to expect.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
that classic thing of like all the people who have come to the show like do not know who the support is and they're not there to see you like at all. They've come to see All Time Low. So like playing on stage, it was such a weird experience, and like we haven't really experienced that yet because we haven't played for like bands as big as that. But I'm sure we've got more to come. But there were just people like leaning on the railings, just like staring at me like,
really?
Yeah, because they don't know, they don't know who we are, and like they're just kind of listening and like making their opinions, but they like looked so bored.
Oh, that's my favorite.
There was like a few people who were like partying and like having a good time, but that was such a different experience to just be like, they're not here to see you, and that's fine, and people hopefully will go away and listen to us afterwards.
But I think you're a good one, because I think as soon as you start, if people aren't interested, people sort of will be quite quick. I think sometimes if the support's a bit safe, like someone has come out with an acoustic guitar and do whatever, people are going to be bored. But like if you come out and actually sort of make an impact, people will like take it away, even if they maybe don't seem like it at the time.
Yeah, they're just making their minds up like at the time, and it's such a funny thing to experience like from the stage.
I think we went down pretty well because I like try to make sure to interact with people online and stuff. So beforehand, like people were messaging us a lot of the time asking if we could get them in for a ticket. But like there was a bunch of people who like have, I think, like kept listening to us after, because I was talking to my friend earlier today, and she'd actually moved in with a new flatmate like when she at uni in Nottingham, and she was like, yeah, like I had only met her a few times, and she shared like Goth Girl on her story the other day. She's like a mega fan, and I was like, really? I don't know who she is. So I was like, oh, that's good, I guess. And she's a big fan of All Time Low, so I was like, we were like, oh, it must be.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So
that's cool.
Yeah. Hopefully we made some fans from that.
Yeah, it's my favourite part about going to gigs like that, especially ones, I think it's probably a bit different because of All Time Low. They're obviously very fangirly people around it. So when people go and watch, they're maybe not as interested in solely finding music. But I feel like for me and Joe, whenever we go to gigs, like the support's half the reason we're there, like because we're just kind of excited to see what people are like.
Yeah.
It is good to go down early and check support slots out and things like that, isn't it? I used to always make sure to do it when I was like going to gigs, when gigs could happen. But under the teenager, to be honest, like even when I'd go to the O2 Academy and stuff, I was getting down early to see, discover new bands as well.
Yeah. What's the favourite one you found when you've been doing stuff like that?
What was that, sorry?
What's the favourite one you found? Like if you've seen like a support, like because when you've seen a support, like I always find that Feet was probably my favourite one that I hadn't heard before when I saw them supporting Hailer. Must have been last year or something. And they like it kind of blew my mind how a band like that for us had kind of gone under the radar to some extent, and we kind of got there and we're like, shit, we probably should take notice of them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big question because I'm
trying to
so
think,
many gigs and like
I can't even remember like gigs that I've been to now. Like
it's such a long time ago. That's the trouble, isn't it? It's like, oh God.
I'm sure there'll be, especially as a teenager, like I used to always like go and then listen to support act. Oh, actually, I went and saw Sam Fender December 2019, and a person called Brooke Bentham supported him, and she's from like North Shields, and that was the first time I heard of her. And I was quite shocked because she's like from my end and I love her music. So that's the most recent one I can think of.
That's cool.
I can't think of one.
Yeah, that is a hard question to throw at people.
It was, yeah. No, sorry. we were talking about it. I thought I'd just throw it in there and see whether I get anything.
We'll see. I'll ask another question. If anything pops in your head, just interrupt me. You spoke a lot about having like different influences when you were starting off and stuff. what sort of stuff is there? Like, what is everyone into, and how does that sort of, like, how do you try and pull that together when you're writing original stuff now?
I don't think it's like a conscious thing, to be honest. Everyone's influences just kind of comes through. But I think over time we've just got better at, like, I think we, like, coming from all the different directions, we've all managed to kind of get on the same page about what we want from the band and like where the band's going. So there's like a common ground. I don't really know what I'm saying. I don't think, we just don't really purposefully think, how can we bring these influences into the song? We just sort of, we let it happen and see where it takes us, and it's kind of taking us in a bit of a new direction now, and we're sort of like embracing that. Like with the release of Goth Girl, it was a bit different, but it was like unanimous throughout the band. Like we wanted it to be more synthy, like more catchy, like that sort of stuff. And yeah, I guess the influences show through, but we're just not aware of it.
Are you wanting to know like sort of each member's backgrounds, like the influences from that? Was that
go for it? Go.
I didn't know ever like that was kind of what you're asking.
Sorry, did I just like completely?
No, not at all. You're absolutely fine.
For me, I listen to a lot of, like these days anyway, I listen to like a lot of dream pop music, and experimental, to be honest, a lot of noise as well. Like Freaky Friday, I was doing a residency when we wrote that, and it was just a full-on like deep listening Pauline Olivero's like Delia Derbyshire week for me. So I kind of came from that into with Venus, and did some improv. But like as a teenager, I listened to a lot of rock. My parents were like punk rockers and stuff, so I grew up listening to a lot of different types of music, and as well a lot of like classical music, because my granddad used to listen to it all the time in the car, and I play classical piano. So for me, I think it's like quite versatile for us all, but I think the main influence that I bring to the band is like the dream pop synthy stuff. Obviously I'm playing the synth.
Definitely.
Cool. No, I like that. And I think like we've had some bands sort of, what we've noticed is there seems to be either everyone has very individual ways they want to do it, and like the guitarist wants to do their guitar bit how they want to do it, drummer does their bit, and then it comes together, or it's like everyone's putting little bits into everyone's different bits. I think it's quite interesting to see like where everyone comes from, and then you sort of manage to put it all together. I find it impressive, because like if it was me and Elle, we'd just probably just argue for hours and then just never get a song, because I'd just be like, I want to do it like that, and you'd be like, I want to do it like that, and we'd be like, fuck it.
We all kind of like listen to just loads of genres as well, but especially like GK, she listens to a lot more like Riot Girl stuff, I think, and like that, but also she listens to like dream pop and things, and I know you, Jess, have been talking about listening to more dream pop recently, and like the Cocteau Twins and things like that. Hannah's kind of like listens, well, when I always think of Hannah, I always think of like Brit pop, because I know she likes like the Arctic Monkeys, and like she's always on the playlist basically like when we're touring, because she gets like,
it's definitely more along like the rock lines and like the slightly heavier stuff, like definitely not heavy in the grand scheme of things, but like heavier stuff.
And then Gabby, feel free.
I'm everywhere with my music taste. One minute you'll hear me listening to classic rock like the Stones, Who, then I can go to Fisher and start listening to dance music.
It's a good one after gigs when Gabby goes on the aux and she's putting all like the dance club music on, like I'm like, get the dunk on.
On the aux.
I'm a bit all over the place, to be honest.
We definitely have those like genres where we all sort of like are into it, so there's definitely like a crossover, and then we all have like the music that we listen to that maybe like the rest of the band don't like at all. So I guess, I mean, when we're together we never listen to like my soul and disco music ever. We never do it.
Right, well, you've got to start from now on. Every
and you've got to listen to My Noise, like in Hildegard music.
There are these just like individual genres that just don't get touched, and it's like, that's fine. I enjoy that in my own time.
I'll tell you what, we had this problem at uni when I went, and we solved it by making a massive playlist, and everyone put like 50 songs in, and then you shuffle it and you get what you get. That's
Do
what
you
we did.
imagine if we did
I
that?
don't know if I'd
No,
like
it's just
that.
it's just random shit
It'd
in
be
a row.
all over the shop.
Yeah, exactly. Like you never know what you're gonna get.
You get one
I
minute.
actually made one like that when I was working in a cafe, and I was working in the kitchen, and it was really like hectic and busy, and you kind of just needed to have like a really long playlist to stick on, and you could leave it on all day, and there wouldn't be a song that like wouldn't be right, or like the playlist would end, or like Spotify would go off on one and start playing whatever it wants.
Yeah.
But like, what are we listening to? So I made a playlist, and it was weird. It had like the Spice Girls, but then like My Chemical Romance, and I was like, what have I created?
Perfect.
Like, this is a mess. And the next thing you know, it's Mariah Carey, and then like Rage Against the Machine. Like honestly, it was all over the place, but it was perfect for like a busy kitchen situation, because you're like half listening anyway. So it was that's the only situation I'd allow it, but otherwise that would really
I really don't think I'd do it. I think it'd stress me out, because one minute I'll have like John Coltrane on, like a bit of the old saxophone would come out, but then next minute we'll have like some heavy, I get jungle on, there'd be like the new Chase and Status album.
Oh my god,
it'd just fuck with my head too much. I don't think that can run.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. I want to talk to you about this rebrand that you've done with Goth Girl, because I'm fascinated by it, because the artwork is fucking mental. That the artwork on that single is incredible. So where did that come from, and was it one of you lot that's drew it?
Actually, GK's partner who drew it, because we were on a budget for this one with like the pandemic hitting us. The imagery came about, we always make Pinterest boards when we want to release a new song. So yeah, we like just kind of had this idea of representing like that sort of goth girl alternative sort of vibe into it. So the idea of like worshipping the devil because, you know, you're like spiritual, or like you do parts of like witchcraft, but well, what people perceive as witchcraft, or if you do witchcraft, or I think that's kind of where the imagery came from. And then we had a few reference images on the Pinterest board as well that we were really like, yeah, like we want a line drawn, we want it quite simplistic. So I guess that like Jamie Kirk he's called. You can find him on Instagram. I think is it Jamie Kirk Art on Instagram?
I don't think so.
We'll find him. We'll put him in the description of the stuff.
Yeah, definitely. We'll
Yeah,
tag him in
we
access.
sort of just like gave Jamie just like the ideas that we had and just let him sort of create. So
yeah,
you know, it's a lot of it's down to him, and he definitely deserves credit for
he
that.
came back with a few different drafts. Some of them like completely different to what like we decided on. But that was like a strong contender. Then there was a couple others that we really liked, and then as well just like little things towards the end, like the fork at the bottom. Like one of the alternatives was like a butterfly sort of effect, and then
we really liked so in place of the pitchfork it was a butterfly, like with the bold like thick line drawing. We were like, yeah, that looks sick, but like what's butterflies got to do with it? Like it was annoying because it was like we really love that, but it's just a bit meaningless. So we were like, what, we need like a bold shape at the bottom, and that's literally how the pitchfork came about.
Especially ties in, with the devil and things like that.
to what we're talking about.
Well, you've completely rebranded your Instagram too, and everything's kind of come along with this. Is this something you've started? It's almost like a fresh start for you as you going on to this sort of style. What's the plan?
It was definitely, that was very conscious. We were trying to stray away from the whole DIY band thing with this single. So we changed like the recording process and decided to work with the guys over at Sugar House and get like a professional job done, and like collaborate with producers and get their input and stuff like that. And with like a professional polished track that was going to stand out like from our previous releases, we just thought it was important to like bring the branding up to that standard as well. And like with all the previous stuff, we sort of had this black and white, and then red came into it with the Wicked Things EP, but it was black and white and like glitchy and sort of lo-fi and grainy and that sort of thing. And we just thought, no, like Goth Girl is polished. We're aiming to get radio play and stuff like that. Like the image has to go along with it and it needs to be polished. So we were like, right, gone with the black and white. Let's pick a color. And we were just like chucking colors in the group chat. And someone was like, what about like pink, baby pink? And we did. And yeah, so the old Instagram had to go. We had to start again. It didn't match at all. It paid off. Like I remember somebody shared like one of our first press shots or something on some kind of social media and was like, I don't know who these people are or what they're selling, but I want it. And like we hadn't even released the track yet. Like we literally just wiped our Instagram and posted something like that, and it clearly paid off.
It completely threw us off because we like to like go back on bands' Instagrams and try and find like early gigs they've done and do some like little research and bits. And I like flicked it and was like,
you can still stalk us on Facebook and Twitter. I don't think they got wiped.
There you go. Next time I'll have to delve through the Facebook.
Facebook's a good one because I don't have it actually. I don't know if this is still a feature. It used to have like an events bit and like all your gigs are listed.
I couldn't tell you the last time I went on Facebook. Just in general.
Yeah.
What a strange place for middle-aged women Facebook is. I always find that it's a place where my mum and her mates hang out on Facebook, so it's not really my normal vibe.
They're good fun, mate, to be fair.
Good crack, but...
My mum really likes Quiz Planet, and she does that through Facebook. She's always... And then she's like, tell your friend to reply to a message on Quiz Planet.
No, I do like that. I think it's cool to sort of have that rebrand, and I think, again, we've seen a lot of bands over lockdown, even with songs and stuff, and wiping old songs off Spotify. And I think when you've got a year to reflect, and then you're like, right, now we've got our best stuff, and then you look back on the old stuff and you're like, we just don't want to look at it anymore. So I think taking that step is interesting. And I think your Instagram does look really good now, like aesthetically very pleasing. So yeah.
I'm happy because I'm a very colourful person, so the black and white was always difficult for me trying to like get stage garms and stuff. But whereas now I'm like, I've got a pink dress, I've got a pink wardrobe, it's fine, I'm sorted.
Oh God, it's just like the polar opposite for me. I just don't own any colour. That's like a monochrome scale, my wardrobe.
Oh man, that is crazy. Have you found that lockdown's been something that's allowed you to reflect and develop your creative process maybe, or like go into places of creativity that you've maybe not ever stepped foot in?
Yeah.
Throwing them off again, Elliot.
Good work.
I was gonna answer, but I just feel like I've answered loads, so I was gonna let somebody else go for it.
This is the problem with Zoom, isn't it?
For me, on a personal level, it has. Like with my freelance stuff, apart from Venus, with Venus, so I guess like we were just talking about the rebranding stuff. It gave us a lot more time to think about the single release and like how we were going to go about it and release it when we were really happy with like the quality of everything. Whereas with our past releases, it's always been very like last minute, and we're like, quickly, we need to get it mastered, like we need to get the artwork through. Whereas we definitely had a lot more time to sit on Goth Girl and like really plan it. We like there was a couple of dates thrown about, like we were originally going to do it in autumn, but because of like the lockdowns, we were trying to like meet up to do the photo shoots and things, and a bunch of times like it just wasn't going to be like doable. So we like waited till it was all safe to do so, like in the summer. So things were definitely delayed, and on the live front, it hasn't obviously been great. But I guess the big thing to like remind yourself is that the full industry is kind of like on pause, especially bands who are like emerging or DIY smaller bands. Like we're all kind of in it together, and the industry is kind of like not going off without you. So I think it has helped us in a way to like really reflect and also just get plans together, even though they do keep changing with lockdowns and things like that. We do have like a plan now. And like I mentioned earlier, we're kind of growing the people we work with, so like booking agents and things. So hopefully when you can get back to it, we'll be like busier than ever, like busier than before as well even. So, and hopefully playing cities that we wouldn't have had the chance to before. So I guess
yeah, cool. I like that. Yeah, I do like that a lot. I think one thing, like speaking about like your creative processes and like having specific mindsets and what you want to do, I think one thing that like I know Ellie, you've been like quite passionate about and always brought me along for the ride is like you've got really into like female fronted rock bands and have sort of been trying to really push that message. And we've both sort of found a little bit that it's been like harder to find some female fronted bands. And we've had to sort of look a little bit deeper about it. And then I came across this quote on your Spotify bio, which I felt like was really, really well worded. So I was going to try and read it instead of like trying to say what I wanted to say. But you put that you intend to contribute to the elimination of age-old interpretations and preconceptions towards women in rock, which I thought was like the best way you could possibly put it. But is that something
that'll be GK's words?
Yeah, I mean, brilliant. I was like, we try and speak and it's like never come up with something like that. But basically encapsulated that point. Is that something that you've sort of consciously worked towards, or is it just something that's sort of in the back of your heads?
I think it's something we're all just, with being in the band, we're just proving that statement, I guess.
I think it's something that we're all aware of because we have to like deal with like the judgments and things that come along with being instrumentalists or just women in the industry. Is, to be honest, like it's not obviously awful at all, but we have had experiences that our male counterparts might have not experienced or had. So I guess just kind of like sometimes it's quite obvious as well. And just obviously we know with like Reading and Leeds Festival, when they announced their lineup last year, and it was like the amount of women on the lineup, well, lack of women on the lineup, I should say, and the controversy around that, because you've got the festivals in Barcelona called
Primavera,
yeah.
Well, you can never remember. I don't know why. I've always spoken. We use this as an example in like every interview or whatever that we do, and Grace is always like,
Barcelona, because they like, well, they used to make a really good point that it was 50-50 their lineup, and last year in particular they were just like, oh, I don't think they announced that it was 50-50, so people were like, you're still doing the 50-50 thing, and they're like, yeah, we just don't feel like we need to make a point of it anymore. It should just come naturally that the lineup should be diverse. So yeah, like that's, I think as well, like for us, a thing that we always say is like when people say like, what do you want to get out of being in the band, it's kind of like just being able to play, but the biggest thing is to sort of have like, so these younger women or non-binary people have like a band to look up to be like, oh, like I don't just have to be a singer, like I can be an instrumentalist too. Just sort of like having like role models in a way. I feel really egotistical saying like, let's be someone's role model, but like just having like being able to see someone do it, you can then be like, you know, I can do it too. Because it was the likes of like Bjork and Grimes, seeing them when I was like 15, that I was like, oh yeah, like that's actually what I want to do. Like they're so cool. Like I love their music. That kind of inspired me to sort of pursue what I'm doing. So hopefully in some ways, like someone might see Jess on lead guitar and be like, yeah, I want to start doing lead guitar, or they'll see Gabby on the drums and pick up drumsticks and not care if people say, why are you playing a boy's instrument? Because I know that's happened to Gabby before, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So a bit like, I hopefully went on a bit of a ramble there.
No, that's fine. I think we've sort of exactly like how you said, we've wanted to touch on it before, but then also like we've had discussions about like we try and keep it 50-50, but again, almost if you say you're trying to keep it 50-50, maybe that takes away from the whole point of it just should be naturally, you know, if we're putting songs into our playlist, it shouldn't be a case of we're really trying to do this. It's just naturally 50% of the bands we put in or artists we put in are female. And I think it's quite a hard thing to sort of judge. So I just think like educating people on it and just being like, I don't know, it's a hard way to spin to people. But
and quite often like it's the industry professionals sort of like higher up in the industry where the problem lies. You know, it's male dominated within the business side and all of that, and women or non-binary, just non-males basically, are not given the same opportunities, and that's the problem. And then there's a lack of females or anyone else, and it filters all the way through, and that's sort of the problem. So I think a lot of people put a lot of pressure on themselves to be, you know, this 50-50 and equal and balanced and all of that, but the real problem lies like within the system. And the individual like consumer isn't as imbalanced as that, and it's really down to the bigger organizations, especially the festival organizers, and some of them in the UK just still not giving opportunities where opportunities are deserved. And it's not like they should be given it because they're female. It's like they're a good band, they're a good musician, they're a good artist, they're better, and they have more achievements than some of the bands that do make it on, but they just don't give them the opportunities. So something's clearly going wrong somewhere in the industry. And
there's something fucked up going on. Like it's I find it really difficult because I'm always on the hunt because I love female fronted punk is something that I'm really into at the minute, and trying to find that sort of music, it goes so under the radar at the moment. It's like another level of underground. Like you get all the underground punk bands, and then like you're almost searching through them to try and find some more that are, especially like Panic Shack, the Red Stains, and people like that we talk about quite a lot. They're not focused on as they should be, especially by the businessmen in suits that get paid to play the certain songs. Like it's all such a broken industry, and it stops and restricts how people find the music, as well as actually just listening to it on a mainstream level. Like we find it incredibly difficult, and having the conversation as well sometimes, because it's something that a lot of people are in the industry of that age where it wasn't normal when they were growing up. So they're still kind of stuck in that way of it not being the regular thing to happen. Whereas I think you lot, especially with making it as not necessarily conscious, but as a focus point, especially in like your Spotify bio and things like that, it's something that I think is really important, just to make it so you are a role model for younger women out there that or non-binary people that are wanting to do this type of thing, even though they might see it as a unachievable goal. Because realistically, there's always going to be people out there that want to listen to the music, and they will find you eventually. It's just you've got to shift through all the shit, because there is a lot of shit male bands. There's a lot of shit male bands.
There's just a lot of music in general. That's like a separate issue.
Oh my God.
Like how saturated the industry is these days, and you can just release music from your bedroom. It does cause a bit of an issue.
Yeah, absolutely. That's another issue that we're sort of trying to solve by picking stuff out, but it's just incredible. Like, and it's not even like there's a lot of shit. There's also a lot of really good music that's like maybe not the best ever, but is like at another time you could be like massively famous. So yeah, it's really hard. But I think, as you say, you're doing by far the best thing is just lead by example. And like I've noticed, like Goth Girls had a lot of radio play. And seems to be doing really well. So I think that's like by far the best thing you can do is just release good songs that just, as you say, get out there, get it on the radio, and sort of lead by example. Thanks.
Yeah, just uploading music to BBC Introducing, if you're like an upcoming band. Also, just like making good ties with the people who work there as well. Because it was actually BBC Tees, where I'm from, who helped us get those plays, because they can forward it on to the other BBC shows. So I've always like made sure to be friendly with them, and there's been like Zooms. That's what's been good about this year, like how accessible things have been. Just being able to like go on a Zoom call from home. So like just chatting and networking that way as well. But yeah, a lot of the bands I've came across, especially this year, a lot of like Twitter communities. I know a lot of, especially like women in the industry, a bunch of them are from America actually, and then they've made playlists of like bands around their area that they play with, and then like vice versa. So like I've just been finding so many. There's a couple of bands as well I think they're from Sweden, and it's like all in Swedish, but like I'm just like I like their music. Like
yeah. There's a lot coming out of Spain and some countries in South America as well, in terms of female rock and punk. I think a good place to find it is like on Twitter and like communities online and stuff. People are so supportive in this kind of scene.
I imagine TikTok's good for that. I don't go on TikTok, but I know a lot of other bands who have like suddenly gone up so many followers because people found them on TikTok and they're getting like loads of views on there.
Yeah, it's Grrrls were the one that we've seen recently that have just shot up in followers on like Instagram Reels and stuff. It's been crazy.
So I think I came across Grrrls a year ago on Twitter, but I've seen what they've been doing on TikTok, and they've just like fully shot up, doing so well.
It's been mental. We found them when they released Placebo, and it was like the track before their most recent one, and it like we loved it straight away. We were like, playlist needs to be done. Like it's fucking unbelievable. But then for them doing all this real stuff, they gained like 50,000 followers in the space of 3 nights.
Me and GK saw that. We were like, bloody hell.
That is so nuts. So nuts.
That's so wild. That's the goal, isn't it?
Literally.
Literally. On a lighter note, Al, do you want to take it into your fun little section?
Yes, I shall. Right. I've got like a little scenario section that we clip up and use. It's kind of a little bit different to the normal standard interview, but we're going to I've got 3 different scenarios, and I want you to pick from within the band who you'd like to help you with that scenario. Right? Do you get where I'm
so ready. I'm so ready.
Okay, cool. So the first one, you've taken a cruise ship. I was just been editing the video and I cocked that up last time I said it. Right. Cruise ship.
What did you say last time?
I think I said cruised chip.
Ship.
Right. You took a cruise ship gig. I've not even fucked it up yet.
Tickle me.
Right. A cruise ship gig. Like you've taken this gig. It's a bit of a strange one, but you've taken it. You're traveling around with it. The ship sinks, sadly, but you've all landed on a desert island. Altogether, it's been miraculous. All that has been there has been a box of tools, a record player, somebody's record collection, and that's all that you've been left with. So I want you to pick somebody to control the record and it be their record collection, somebody to help build the like camp that you're going to stay in, and somebody to go out foraging for food.
I know the first one. I know who I'd pick for the first one.
What, is it Hannah? Hannah's record?
Yeah.
You know what? I was going to say Grace.
Oh, what, because I'd just chill everyone out on this? Yeah, because everyone would just go to bed though.
Yeah, no, because like Hannah's record collection, it would be sick most of the time, but on a desert island, I think I'd want Geeps because it'd be super chill.
Hannah's got like a mixture. So when she's on the aux, it's like it's a bit of everything.
True. So
no,
that's true. All right, we'll go Hannah. No, you're right.
Oh, there's 2 against
not happy about it though.
I'm obviously going to go with my record collection, really.
There you go. That's outvoted.
Gabby's right because we could have the ups and downs.
Yeah. What was it to help build?
So you got someone that's going to like mainly build the camp, who's in control of like building the like, I don't know what you want in a camp, like a tent or
it would have to
shelter.
Would that be Jess, because you're probably the strongest out of us.
I'd probably say Jess as well.
You're like proper mum vibes, like in your mum car, like driving us about. You're going to be building us.
It sounded like you said man.
I really thought that's what you said.
You said mum. It's mum to us.
Translated.
I was like, oh my god, Grace, like you can't say that. You're for feminism.
No, mum, like your mum.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What was the last one?
To be fair,
Origin.
I'd trust any of you with building.
Yeah, well there you go, down at the tea. Jess is building us up. Origin, going out foraging.
Someone's got to find some food.
I think that would have to be me, wouldn't it?
I was going to say you.
Because I'm got an interest in botany and things.
No, but you can
really?
take Gabby with you. I think Gabby would be helpful in that scenario.
She can do the singing.
No reasoning.
You just seem happy to be involved there.
You can be on the watch out. You can do the digging. I'll just be like, get that one.
You can do the digging. Oh,
Climb up the tree, get the coconut.
Gabby's got food.
She does. Yeah,
your food likes align with my food likes, which is why I'd want you to go.
There you go then.
To make sure that she was getting like good stuff.
I don't know if you'd be able to find all the spices for a good curry. Like,
there's not like a co-op in the middle of it. Like.
I think it's just going to be like plants, fish, and coconut.
Yeah, but Gabby's there as moderator.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'd like a companion as well in case there's any predators on the loose. Gabby can fight them off for me.
Yeah, and then DK will just
chill.
Be chilling.
Chill. Just be there.
She'll just be vibing to Hannah's records.
DK would be good though collecting as well because she's really into nutritionist stuff, isn't she? So
yeah,
but I guess we would be quite limited on the island.
She can oversee the operations.
The main manager. We've got a manager, a super.
Someone's got to delegate. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she'd be managing it. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Right. Well, so for your next one, you've gone on a tour again. You're staying in a cheap Airbnb. And you don't want to leave it because it's cheap. It's nice and easy. It's lovely. It's big. Guess the first night you hear a load of noises in the night. And a lot of weird shit going on. You find out it's haunted. It's a fucked up place. It's haunted. But you don't want to leave because it's so cheap. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
All right, I'll get
the pros and cons.
Talk to them. It's fine.
Well, this is the question.
I like my crystals with us.
You have your crystals. Well, there you go. The answer might be there already. Someone's going to have to hold a seance to talk to them. Make sure they're not bad vibes. You know, you want to make sure they're all good. They're going to set you up. Who's it going to be that's going to be leading this seance-y thing?
Grace, 100%. Definitely, but like Gabby would definitely be there also. Like you love.
I'd be in on it. I'd be like, this is so cool.
Just be shitting myself, like hiding under the bed or something.
No, if there are any bad vibes, I'll just talk to them. It'll be fine.
Calm them down.
Yeah, talk to them, sort it out.
Yeah, I'll have all my oils with me. Exactly. Get these essential oils out. We'll chill.
Okay, cool. And the last one I've got for you in this scenario section is you've been nicked. You've been banged up for a crime we can't discuss. We don't want to get into it. But you've been banged up. You start talking to somebody within the jail. Jail? Where am I?
Jail.
America? Jail?
We're in the jail.
In the jail. You're in the prison. You're talking to someone in the nick who's mates with a screw. And you end up finding a way out of there. You've only got one phone call to make. Who's going to be your getaway driver? Which one from the band are you picking?
Getaway driver?
Yeah, so you've broke out of prison. You've become mates with this screw. You've got out. You managed to... Sorry, screw might not be quite... Screw means like prison officer.
Right.
Like
I had no idea what you meant. I thought you meant like a literal screw.
You made mates with like a Phillips head screw.
Just sat there thinking, he's lost his mind.
Yeah, I was like,
no.
I'll accept it. It's his scenario. I'll go along with it.
Sorry,
He made friends with a screw. Oh, that's so funny. You've befriended a nail that you found. Oh god.
No. Okay. So a prison officer, you've managed to get out. You've escaped. You have to get home or away to safety. Who is your getaway driver?
Jess.
Yeah, Jess. Because
in her mum's car.
Well, it's
not actually my mum's car.
Yeah, I was gonna say
a mum car.
What is it, like a Zafira or something? Citroen Picasso.
Ford Focus Estate.
Oh, okay, yeah, it is a mum's car.
I know.
That'll do the job though. Pile in,
Yeah, you get loads. I'll tell you what, you can bring the whole prison out with you.
All of them in the boot.
Exactly.
Literally.
Bring your screws if you want.
Oh my god, yeah, bring all the screws you want.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah, dismantle the whole prison, bring it all with you.
Yeah, break it down into a flat pack like IKEA. We're getting going.
Yeah, definitely Jess.
Yeah, not many of us drive. So yeah,
does narrow it down, to be fair.
Not many options.
Fair enough.
Oh.
Well, that is the scenario section over, and
Oh, I want more scenarios.
Yes,
more.
Fun.
I don't think anyone's done this with us before. It's like the funnest.
We get a lot of this. I think can we just do that for an hour?
We could definitely do that. I'm trying to see whether I've got any written down anywhere. I've got my other notebook
My
somewhere.
scenario collection.
I actually do, because we do it for every episode, and we've done like what, 16 now?
Something.
So I've got like 3 for every episode. So I could have just
There
read
is
some
some.
out.
Yeah.
Oh, unique as well.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, they are actually pretty much. Right, okay, I've got one.
Oh.
One more.
Oh,
Bonus,
sorry,
bonus scenario.
It's one of the best ones I've asked. I don't know whether any of you lot are into like gaming or anything, but so you've been put on a land that's a bit like Rust. So it's essentially a land which is derelict. It's pretty much brand new. Everything's been wiped out
I've
apart
been
from
on
some
Rust
scraps and stuff.
before.
There you go.
Well, there you
Actually,
go.
It's kind of like what's the other one called? It's really popular where you you never
what,
carry on.
Fortnite?
Well, there's Fortnite, but I wouldn't say it's like
I
Rust.
thought that's what you were gonna say.
But there's like one that's like Fortnite and also like Rust, the one in between. Unknown, no.
Ark Survival Evolved. It's just
No,
like that.
I don't think I'm gonna
It's
get
also
it. So
similar to that.
I'm not really a big gamer, so
Cool.
I'll stop there.
But anyway, you're in a land like that. You've built your shelter. You're all set up.
Yeah.
We need someone to go find you a mode of transport. Most likely it's going to be a horse. Who are you sending off to fetch the horse, tame it, bring it back so you've got like a little car?
Tame the horse.
Yeah, tame
Hey,
it, bring it back so you can use it.
I've got a horse on Red Dead now. Mine's tamed.
I saw it. That's what you got to do.
That's it. You've done the
It's
Red
the
Dead
same thing.
I've
on
done
Red
it.
Dead. Well, there
Yeah.
you go.
I've
Get
done
on it, spam A, and then you just like.
Yeah. Pat it, feed it, brush it. There you go.
Gabby's all kitted up for that.
That was like the hedgehogs that used to cross the road, and you've got like a set thing you got to do.
Yeah.
Stop, look, listen to what it was.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I probably need a cough from laughing.
You're more than welcome to. We allow that. That is
Yeah.
okay.
Allow coughing. Yeah.
Oh
it's
my
funny.
God.
That was
So,
good.
Gab-
No, I'm amazed how
that
quickly you were like, this is me. I've been waiting for this moment. I'll get
Yeah.
the fucking horse. Let's do it.
Can you actually have you actually ever ridden a horse in real life?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, there you go.
I wasn't
sorted.
expecting that.
Yeah, yeah, that's told you. Sorted. That's amazing.
Yeah, I've got a friend who owns them, and she let me ride one when I was maybe about 11, 10. It was years ago. I couldn't do it now.
It's like riding a bike.
It's like riding a bike.
Just
Heavily
Very
horse.
different.
much larger and,
Yeah.
and its
And
own
a
thing.
lie.
Yeah,
that's
and
the
a lie.
key
Literally a
point. Yeah, like, oh,
Oh.
do love horses. I have to admit, big fan. Big fan of horses.
Can be scary though, and they're massive.
Yeah.
They do worry me a little bit.
Definitely had some dodgy experiences
Yeah, they
in
stress
my
me out a little bit.
stereotypical southern life when I used to ride horses. I was like,
Yeah.
don't mention it. You're a stereotype.
I also think if they switch, they could just do whatever they want.
Well, they're like
Massive.
big dogs, though. They don't hurt no one. They're just
Yeah,
they're
but
just
they could if one just ran at you.
Some of
then
them
you're
are
in trouble, then,
crazy though.
Yeah.
They've got
Yeah.
like big teeth as well.
Yeah, I
Some
don't.
of
I
them
don't trust them. At all.
mental.
I don't like them.
I
Yeah,
love
especially
them.
when you're behind them, like it can just kick you, and you're like, "What?"
Yeah, that is one thing you tend not to. Don't step behind a horse.
Yeah, totally.
It's not really a
It's me, like
go-to.
walking up doors and
Yeah,
standing
like,
behind them.
behind
You don't
it.
choose to walk beside it. You walk behind it. You're like waiting.
God. I remember when I was literally like, I think I was like 5 or 6, and I was riding this horse, and we had like gone out on like a little trek or something. And I was so small at the time, so they'd put me on like the smallest horse. And because it was slow, because it was small, they put me at the back, which was so stupid. And I got so left behind. Everyone else like went round a corner, and the horse couldn't see them anymore. And just totally panicked
Oh shit!
and like started like galloping to catch up, and I just wasn't expecting it. Like went straight like round the front, fell down onto the floor, saw the horse like walk over me, and was just lying on like a country road in the like countryside of England.
Oh my God.
At like
that stresses me out.
At the age of 6 or something.
No.
And I was oh my God. I still remember it to this day. Like it really
I'm not surprised.
Really traumatic, apparently. That sounds like
scarring.
Did you go back on a horse after that?
I just got straight back on, and they'd like put me at the front so that I would.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and I did horse riding till I was like 13 after that.
Oh, wow.
So I've never ridden
didn't
one.
Scare me. Hard as nails.
Hard as nails. Hard as nails.
Hard as screws.
Yeah.
No, you can't ride one because you're taller than most of them.
No, I want one of them big fuck off like.
Big off.
Big off.
You know, like the old the ones that got lots of like hair. Well, this makes just sound really fucking thick.
Yeah, man, the hairy
Horses.
one.
You know the ones that have got like the really fucking big ones. The ones that
the big faces and the teeth. I know the ones.
A Shetland? No.
the ones that like used to do the farming. I made it sound really thick.
The big
Mate, I
one.
don't know anything.
I don't know either.
Horses. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, anyway.
I thought you said all the big air originally. I was like, big air and a horse. I was
No,
like,
hair.
Definitely need some sort of southern northern translator in this one. I think.
Yeah.
Usually GK does that for me. Like even when I'm with Venus, like she sat there like if I haven't been with them for a while, we'll just all look at GK and then she'll translate for me.
Yeah, I
like
still
that.
struggle. Like I've known you for so long, and there's the odd word where I'm like,
In second year, one of my friends is from Colombia, so his first language is Spanish. And if I like went home for like a week or like a weekend, I'd come back, I'd talk to him, and he'd just be like, "What?" Like we, once again, would go to GK, and she would just like, "She said
translate.
this."
So does she know Spanish as well? That's amazing.
Oh no. She would
That
just
would be
actually say it in better English than I could.
Oh God, funny.
Well then, I think we should probably wrap it up. How long have we been going? We've been going a while, I think.
An hour.
An hour and 15.
Yeah.
Mental. Well, there you go. We do like a last little section to kind of wrap it up, where we kind of shout out like a band that we've been listening to, that we've been enjoying. So, anything that you lot have been listening to recently that you think should be getting a little bit more publicity?
Every time this question, I need to have an answer prepared.
I know, me too.
Hang on, let me just check my Spotify real quick.
This normally happens. Me and Elle normally have one, so we can run through ours, and then I guess you a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go on then, Joseph. You can take it away.
I've got a band called Space Toast, which I'm convinced is the best name of a band.
Are they Australian?
Ever. No.
Oh, because you've got all the, like loads of Australian bands with just like a really bizarre name.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those where, if you just go on like a website that like generates a band name and it just gives you like 2 words and you're like, yeah, Space Toast. Cool, that'll do. They're from the East Midlands apparently, so somewhere near us, I think, but it doesn't say specifically where they're from.
Smoking joke?
Yeah, being sick. They are like a proper indie rock band, like a little bit like classic indie rock, but it's just really catchy. And I came across them yesterday, and the way I thought they were good was it was the first song I'd heard of theirs, and before that song had even finished, I was like singing along to it, like I knew the words after like 2 choruses. I know, and
imprinted.
Yeah, it was. It literally was, and I was like, wow. I was like, that must be the catchiest song ever. So it's just got fair play. So that's a really good song. It's called "Hate Me," I think.
You don't even know what it's fucking called. It's that good. But
yeah,
you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I know. I can know the words.
I know the words.
What it's called.
I think it's called that.
What's the band called again?
Space Toast.
Space Toast.
Yeah, they've got a new one out that's a little bit heavier, and some of their older ones are a bit heavier as well. And then they seem to have this like indie vibe in the middle. They've got like 5 songs, but like across their like discography, they've not been going long, but they've already got like a lot of different genres, and they're all really good. So yeah, they're just one to check out. They're really good.
Oh, cool! They look cool.
They do, yeah.
Cool. Well, I've got 2 quick ones because my research isn't as in depth as that. But
I just said they're from the East Midlands.
Yeah, I don't know where these are from. I've got 2, and I don't know where they're from. So actually, tell a lie, I do know where one of them is from. We're all right. So I've got, for the punk lot out there, I've got Polarized Eyes, which I put their track Blackout in the playlist, and it's just fucking mental. Like it's, just a lot of shouting, a lot of noise, sounds really good. the way I describe that one. And the other one that I'm going to shout out Low Girl, because they have released something recently as of recording, but they've released a new single called Big Now. But by the time this comes out, they've probably released their EP. I couldn't tell you what it's called because I don't think they've announced it yet. But
Don't
yeah,
break the magic out.
Sorry, fourth wall. Yeah. So Low Girl, they're a band from Bedfordshire, I believe, which is very local to us, and we've seen them live. And her vocals are fucking crazy. They did a song called ICU, which we saw live, like when they were supporting Sarpa. And that track, it's one of them ones where you listen to, and it's one of the, like, it's so deep and emotional. I enjoy that track too, but this one's a lot more lighter. It
is. I really like, because I love that ICU track, but it did get to the point where it was in our playlist that like I had to skip it a couple of times because you're just like, I can't cope with this song now. Like, it's really emotional and like really deep, and I was just like, this is like not the vibe sometimes. Whereas this new one, they've gone quite like a little bit lighter, a little bit more upbeat, and like I'm like, yes, this is sick.
They're from.
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say you'll have to like send the messages, send the songs across on Instagram after.
Yeah,
this, so
cool. We will do. Yeah, I'll put in a message for you.
Cool.
Yeah, she's from Hemel, which is literally like so close to where I live.
Yeah, that's dead close to us as well.
Yeah, mad.
They're so good. She's like, her voice is something that's mad, and then all of the art that's done is done by their. I want to say he's a synth player or keyboard. He does both, probably, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, his art's unbelievable too. His art's crazy.
Wicked.
So, what have you lot been listening to?
I've been getting into from Hannah actually. Yonica.
I've literally just put them in the playlist.
Nice.
Yeah, so good.
It was Hannah that introduced them to us a while back, and then she played a few not long ago, and then she made me really get into them. So that's what I'm listening to.
Yeah, that's it. They are really good.
Yeah. Not too long ago, I found this band called Ruido Rosa, and they're from Mexico.
Nice.
And they're like an all-female rock alternative, a bit punky, and they've been going on for quite a while, and I sort of checked out like all their stuff, and if you go all the way back to like their first album in 2010, it's definitely got that like pop punk sound to it, and then as you sort of like get further through, it just gets a bit more like alternative, and they're super cool. I really dig them.
Sick. That's one you're gonna have to send us as well, because I'm never gonna be able to find them.
Yeah, I just went on this like absolute Spotify wormhole and just was listening to a band, deciding that I liked it, and then going into like their sort of like related artists, and then just it spiraled massively, and I ended up in like South American bands, and like a lot of their songs are in Spanish. And I understand some of it, but not really. But the songs are good, so I don't know. I don't really need to understand it.
No, definitely not.
That's what we were saying.
But yeah, they're pretty big. I think they're doing well in their own country, but I think they're quite known outside of their country as well, which is cool.
Cool, sick.
Sick.
I've been listening to a few new ones actually. A band called Chromatics. They released a single, Bang Bang. When this comes out, obviously, a while ago. And then I was watching Calva Louise on the Twitch live stream for, what was it for? Amazon, I think. And I've known about them for ages, but like watching them actually like play live, I was like, bloody hell, they're good. And they've just done a collaboration with Strange Bones, which is a really good song. It's called 9 Lives. And then something a bit more local, a girl called Larissa. She's just released her single Bodies, and we've played with her in Leeds a couple times. Well, just the once, I think. But I've seen her live a few times, and she's got like a Lana Del Rey vibe to her, but then also like more like The Cure and like 80s synths. It's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we actually love her.
We actually do.
We actually do. We are telling
obsessed.
the truth.
Yeah.
Not lying.
Lovely. That's perfect. Loads for people to get stuck into there, to be fair. So
Absolutely. Well, I think it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. It's been a great show.
Yeah, nice
having
to meet
us.
you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. And then when gigs are back, we've said this every time, so we're gonna be busy people. But when gigs are back, we'll be up around wherever you lot are playing. We'll be there, and we'll try and get something done live as well. Like,
Yeah, we'll have to come to Northampton.
yeah,
well, it's amazing.
It's a great place. Love it. I'll tell you what, even better, we'll take you out in Wellingborough. We'll go.
Yes.
You'll be in jail if you do that one.
Oh my god!
actually,
we'll
like-
get that screw best friend.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
With your screws,
right.
if you're coming out in one of them.
Yeah, if we do see you at a gig though, we'll have to have like a drink, and if we're staying over, we'll have to show us the spots if we come to Northampton.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere else close by that you go to gigs?
Nope.
Nah, we
Milton Keynes.
Milton Keynes,
Leicester,
maybe.
London.
London, yeah.
Even like Coventry. A lot of people seem to play Coventry now.
Yeah. I think
that's-
London's on the cards for us. I think because I think we're going to try and do like cities and stuff. This isn't going to the podcast, is it?
All right, let me wrap it up then. Hang on.
Oh, yeah, I'll hold that.
Okay. Thank you all for watching. You'll see all that coming out soon, I'm sure. Go tight up there. If you're watching the video on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you go check out Venus Girls' socials, Goth Girl, their newest single. It's all out there to listen to. Get your teeth stuck in, and we'll see you on the other side. Peace.
Yes.
Right, cool.
Okay,
now we
now
are.
go for it.